This is Goku's son, DBZ, and today I will be counting down the top 12 best-selling video game franchises of all time. Now, this is obviously not opinion since it's based on sales statistics, and there will not be any honorable mentions today. Now, let's get this vlog started, and I might possibly be doing a second top 12 list this weekend. So, we shall see. And most likely it'll be a personal favorite list of mine this time around. But coming at number 12, best-selling video game franchise. Produced by Warner Brother Games Division. The Lego franchise. Now, personally, it blows my mind how many how many different kinds of Lego games there are. They've got them for everyone. They got like DC ones that strictly revolve around Batman, of course. So it's still early. And also, they have ones that revolve like the recent one, Jurassic World. They have Jurassic Park ones. They have Marvel ones. They have Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, pretty much everything you can think of. But what's insane is, total estimate there are 83 games in the series. Now, I believe that's also separate, different ports of the games, but yeah, 83 games in the series, and an estimated 77,930,000 video games. Now that is just crazy about that it has sold almost 78 million copies of that game series, Lego, at number 12. That's a pretty insane amount of games coming in the 12th best-selling game franchise list. And of course, like the last list I did, top-selling consoles, the sales statistics come from a website called VGCharts.com. Spelt with a Z at the end, not an S, just to let you know. And they have neutral statistics. It's not fake stuff like Wikipedia where anybody can type the stuff in. They actually base it on, I guess you could say they're like the video game division of BoxOfficeMojo.com, which of course gives the sales and stuff to statistic worldwide box office on movies. Coming in at number 11 is probably the most successful racing game series of all time, with an estimated, well, it's total if you include different ports and stuff, estimated 70 games, and it has sold 82,420,000 games, and that is Need for Speed at number 11. Now that's crazy for a racing game selling over 82 million games. That's just nuts. No, copies. It's just completely insane, to say the least. Coming in at number 10 is from one of the most hated game developers definitely here in America. And that being the creator and stuff, EA Games, which is definitely one of the most despised in the game world. And this game series is called The Sims. And it's insane because Sims 2 had an estimated 26 expansions, which are each considered their own game, technically speaking. But with all the expansions and everything, they estimate The Sims at 86 games. And an estimated 85,190,000 games. What the heck? Seriously, people? Why has The Sims got that many games sold? I tried once upon a time one or two of The Sims games, and I was bored to death with the games. I thought they were completely also stupid, completely illogical. I'm sorry for the sound in the background. What you're hearing click on and off, and the sound in the background is my heater. It's relatively cold right now here. It's like 31 degrees this morning, so needless to say, I have to have the heater on just to keep reasonably warm while I do these videos and things. Coming in at number 9 with 9 games total. And it's weird, they're technically a division of course, a particular character from Nintendo, but nevertheless, just this own series has become one of the best-selling game series of all time. Coming at number 9 is Mario Kart. Yeah, Mario Kart number 9 just by itself, with an estimated 96,510,000 copies sold. That's just insane right there. I mean, seriously, 96 million games of just the Mario Kart series. Of all the games, I'm not a big racing fan. Anybody that personally knows me in real life knows that I'm not a big fan of racing games. There's maybe 1 or 2 racing type games I may like, but they're not exactly conventional type racing. Of course, technically Mario Kart isn't either, but there's so many copies and stuff out there now of Mario Kart. I just don't get it. I'll never understand the popularity of Mario Kart. That's the thing, I think in the end, Mario only does well because there's a lot of fanboys of it. Yeah, I have a Super Nintendo, I agree, and I have an N64, but I'm not one of these hardcore fanboy types. I don't get the whole purpose of fanboying over things. Coming in at number 8 with an estimated 104 games with an estimated 93,750,000 copies sold. FIFA, which is another franchise, of course, developed by EA Games. So obviously EA does very good in sales, even though they're one of the most despised companies. Them, Activision are definitely 2 of the most hated. And both known for over-milking franchises. Though I think people are starting to feel that way about also Ubisoft as well. And yes, FIFA comes in number 8, which it still kind of confuses me why it's sold more than 93 million games, soccer, or to other countries out there, football. I'll never understand the popularity of sports video games, but I'm not the biggest sports person. Obviously, there's one sport I like at least something of. That's about it, but I don't like playing sport video games, though. Coming at number 7 is my personal favorite video game franchise of all time. Estimated 72 games with an estimated 97,880,000, so just shy of 98 million copies sold. Final Fantasy comes in number 7. Personally, I think Final Fantasy should be higher up in sales, but obviously it's because I'm a big fan of the Final Fantasy franchise, so I'm going to be kind of biased on my view of Final Fantasy. And I will admit that I'm going to be biased because I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy. It's what got me into RPGs, JRPGs in the first place. Thanks to Square, and half of all RPGs I own are made by Square. Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, Parasite Eve. They just produce amazing RPGs/JRPGs. Coming at number 6, with an estimated 70 games produced by Sega Games, with an estimated 101,320,000 copies sold. Sonic the Hedgehog. Yep, Sonic is the 6th best-selling video game franchise of all time. No surprise, given it, Sonic is basically the best-selling ever in the Sega Genesis era. And to be fair, Sonic also was one of the best sellers of the Sega Saturn era and the Sega Dreamcast era. And it sold pretty good even on other platforms. PlayStation, Xbox did too, though. And yes, needless to say, it's really good. And coming in at number 5 from Lucas Arts, with an estimated 101 games total, with 103,800,000, so obviously just shy of 104 million games sold, which is pretty impressive. Star Wars comes in number 5. Any doubt that Star Wars would be up in the top elite list? Not really, given how many of us Star Wars fans there are out there. It's really no surprise that Star Wars would be one of the top best-selling game franchises. I mean, they've produced so many amazing games, which I'm working on for the future, a top 12 Star Wars video game list. So stay tuned for that, of course. And yeah, I mean, they've done some good stuff. Regardless of how some people may feel about Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, did produce one or two good games. One of them being Star Wars Episode 1 Speed Racer, which was fun, getting to do pod racing. Well, it's one of the few racing games I actually enjoy. Of other really good games, of course, Shadows of the Empire on the N64 was really fun. Obviously, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 on the original Xbox was really good. And the first of the two Force Unleashed games were also a lot of fun. And a few other good Star Wars games here and there. And, anywho, coming in at number 4, best-selling video game franchise. With an estimated 28 games, it is definitely one of the youngest franchises on this list. This franchise only started in the 90s on the PS1. But it became better well known in the PS2 era, into the PS3 era. Given PS3 360 era produced their best-selling game and the best-selling game of the 7th generation consoles. That being the 5th installment in the main line. And obviously this is with 106,290,000 copies sold, Grand Theft Auto. Now, I'm obviously not the biggest Grand Theft Auto fan, but I will admit there is one particular Grand Theft Auto game I actually like. Mainly because it takes place in the 80s. And you got so much awesome 80s and stuff like classic rock music. In particular, songs I like on that, like you have songs like 2 Tickets to Paradise by Eddie Money, which I really like. You have also great songs from Living Colour, of course, Cult of Personality, and other great rock music. And of course, that being Grand Theft Auto Vice City is pretty much the only Grand Theft Auto I ever liked. Otherwise, I feel it kind of, for the most part, is overrated. Only seeing really graphical upgrades really over the years. Not too much of an evolution in the storytelling or anything at all. But that's just my opinion, keep in mind. Coming in at number 3 is the most overrated video game franchise of all time. And it's also one of the youngest on this list. With an estimated 39 games. And I believe this franchise only started in the PS2 era in the 6th generation consoles. COD, Call of Duty, at number 3. 134,970,000 games sold. Why the crap do people buy these stupid Call of Duty games? I mean, seriously. There's only like a few tweaks here and there in the gameplay. It only relies on multiplayer. And I personally am not a big fan of multiplayer games. I'm just not a big fan of multiplayer. Never have been, Probably never will be. I prefer a game with a single player, which is why anymore I tend to mainly stick with RPG games, obviously. There are a few games, there's one in particular game that technically revolves around multiplayer. I still play the single player campaign. That being Destiny, I'm guilty of liking. But Call of Duty, I will never understand the popularity of it. And without that, is the most overrated game franchise, period. Number 2. With 42 games sold, produced by Nintendo Games, with 212,710,000 copies sold. That is an insane jump from 134 million to 212 million. Second best-selling game franchise eventually will probably overtake number 1 spot. And that being, gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon is the second best-selling game franchise of all time. And the best-selling RPG franchise of all time, given it does use a basic turn-based type combat system. There's real no strategy. It's like whenever you go first, it's sort of like rock, paper, scissors based on speed numbers is how you know if you're going to end up going first over the air Pokemon. Just look at the stats. And obviously, we know probably who number 1 is of all time. Produced by Nintendo Games, 290,260,000 games sold. Can any of you guess what number 1 is? It would be the plumber with the spaghetti mustache. It is me, Mario! Yeah, that's right, Super Mario franchise is the best-selling video game franchise of all time. So, yes, that's number 1. And so I hope you like this top 12 best-selling video game franchise list of all time. And I'm sorry that I'm late on doing our comic books. I meant to do Radioactive Spider-Gwen issue number 1. But instead I am going to be doing a review I just picked up there. They finally got hold of issue 3 of Spider-Gwen. So that will be one of the normal comics I will be doing this over the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that. And for a few other comic books that I will be reviewing. And one of them I will be reviewing will be Star Wars Darth Vader issue number 8. So stay tuned for that beautiful Star Wars issue. And also I'm going to be doing in the near future some special manga reviews on some manga that a friend of mine from work gave me. So I'll probably try to do like a little review here and there of them. And this is the first of the 4 I will be reviewing. It's called Hot Gimmick. And it's done by Viz Graphic Novel division of Viz Media. So stay tuned for that. And, well, I shall see you next time. And also, the next top 12 list I will be doing is going to be the top 12 Star Wars, well, next Sunday, top 12 Sunday, I'm going to be doing the top 12 Star Wars characters. Since Star Wars movie is coming out soon, I thought I'd do a couple of special Star Wars editions. Of course, follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ. And peace out. Hopefully someday we do. And of course, please thumbs up this video, subscribe, and let us know about my channel. And give me any pointers for any future top 12 lists or anything else you might want me to do. And if I possibly do another one this week, most likely it will be a top 12 Star Wars video games list. So, also, maybe stay tuned for that if I do it. And I hope you all have a good upcoming Thanksgiving this coming Thursday. Sadly, I got work, but oh well, that's life. Have a good time here in YouTube land.